Hey everyone, it is Natalie from Being Intentionally Creative, and we are going to keep going a little bit with this Halloween theme. Now, the next piece I'm going to do, some of you may not think it's sort of Halloween-ish, but I think you could do a lot with this piece. And when I saw it on Temu, it was one of those, I'm going to get this because I thought it was very cool. They've got some really neat Halloween type molds out right now. There's another one that I'm absolutely in love with. I'm going to do my best not to buy it at this time. So let me show you, because what I've done is, this is the mold itself. Okay, you can't really tell a lot from that, can you? But I've already done it in ceramic resin. And this is what it looks like. I had to decorate the face up a little bit for you because I wanted you to see the actual face. So it's got a veil that surrounds the back of the head and then ties the front here, and then we've got the face on it. These cracks are part of the mold. I have some additional cracks, and I think it might be that I didn't get air bubbles out, and I think that's sort of what's caused some of these. However, one of those things, do not care, because I think it adds to the piece. I did some highlighting of it, obviously, so that you could see the face better using metallic markers. I had wondered about doing the inside of these with the blue as well to give it a more eerie look. I haven't done that at this point. A little hesitant on doing it, but regardless, I really like it. Now, it also has cracks along the side here. Again, I'm not 100% sure if those cracks are because of the way I poured the ceramic resin in, or if in actual fact they're meant to be there. Having said that, again, I like them. I think it just adds to the piece. Now, she's got eyelashes and whatnot. I haven't done anything with them. I don't have a metallic black marker that I'm aware of, but you could definitely, like the top, for the most part, you could probably figure out on this side, they're more predominant on this side, where to put them if you wanted to put them on. So I think it looks, I just think this looks so cool. As they, might have said back in the day, way cool. This is what we're going to be doing, but this time we're going to do it in resin because I want to see how it's going to look. It's going to be matte. It's a matte mold. I know the inside of this looks pretty crappy, but I don't mind. Hopefully you can see all this sort of, it's dried out. It's had a day to dry, but you can see the circles. But I think we could have some fun with that and make it look interesting. So how am I going to do this? Well, I'm going to decorate this very carefully. So let me get her off to the side so we don't interrupt anything. So it's a matte mold. What I want to attempt to do, and again, I'm going to have to be really careful. I'm going to have to use some of my micro brushes to do this. The ultimate color that I'm going to do this in is the gray Tide by Eye Candy, and I'm going to throw in some of the holographic silver by Resin, just to give it some sparkle, even though it's matte. So what I'm thinking I may have to do, this may be one of those pieces where I want to use a 2-part epoxy and then coat it once it's done. So we'll have to see how it looks as a matte, because hey, it may look really cool. If it doesn't, then I may see. So what I'm going to do, and again, I know I've had issues before with it, of trying to paint the inside of one of these molds, or a mold, and then getting color everywhere. I want to attempt to do her face. I'm not going to do the lines. I don't want to do that. I want to be able to do the eyes and the lips especially. So even though on this one I didn't do the blue all in the eyes, here's my thought on this, is to do the pupil, and I'm going to have to find it, with the chrome royal blue, okay? So right in the very center, I'm going to do the eyeball, that color. Then what I thought I would do is I would use the light blue in here to sort of make it, again, I'm looking for an eerie feel. I'm not looking to make this pretty. The nose I'm not going to do anything with. I am not going to do anything with the veins. What I'm kind of hoping is that I might be able to do something on the resin after it's done. I might have to use my fine pens because the chrome markers I've got, they're going to be too much for these. Not going to do the eyelashes or the eyebrows. So or at least it wasn't my intention to do them, although I could do that black using, I'll show you the black I'm going to use, but using one of my micro brushes. So one of these small ones, which I've shown you plenty of times. Okay. And then what I want to do is I want to do the veil as well, and I'm going to use the Ninja Black on that, but I'm not going to do a good job. So what I want to do is, because we're doing this gray and I want sort of that eerie feel, I'm not going to like get this black all the way around. What I want to do is get it in certain spots and then have some of the gray show through it as well. So as you can see, I'm going for that eerie Halloween look. I'm going to do this off camera because I foresee this being a bit of a challenge for me, and then I'll bring you back when we're ready to pour it. You're not going to see the final product until we get it all done and poured and taken out. So I don't want to disappoint you, but I also want to keep this simple for myself so it leaves you with a bit of surprise at the end. I don't think I'm going to do anything on here. However, I do suspect that some of my black, when I flip this back through, and maybe even some of the other colors, are going to wind up on the centerpiece. I don't know whether it's worth maybe finding a gray, or if I were to take even the holographic silver and, you know, sort of put it in different spots. But again, I'm a little concerned that I'm going to end up with splashes of color. But again, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it doesn't matter. So I'll take care of that. And we will come back and we will pour it together. But I think it's an absolutely fabulous piece. I'm so glad I bought this. I saw it online and went, yes. I also bought some card products because of my Christmas cards. I have a strike going on here with Canada Post right now, so I'm not sure how this is going to play out for me this year. I got limited cards sent out last year because there was a strike with Canada Post, so I'm hoping that this year that I can get all my Christmas cards out in time. And if not, I was almost thinking, you know what? I'll just send them out, and when you get them, you get them. That's sort of my logic. Anyways, let me see what I can do with this, how well I can get my colors on, and then we will come back when it's time to pour this. Welcome back. I have brought you to the point where I have got the gray mixed up. Now I put just the tiniest amount of black mica powder in here because I didn't think my gray was quite gray enough. What I could have done is gotten some gray mica powder and put it in. However, I figured because I had the black here, I would use it. Now, I've been slowly mixing it up, and it keeps coming sort of back up to the surface, which is fine, so I can dilute it down a bit more. I'm also going to put the silver in. I haven't done that yet, so we'll be able to mix things up a little bit more. My piece is done with the mica powders. There's something interesting that I found that I want to share with you. And I hadn't really thought about it before, but it kind of came about when I was doing this piece. But let's get this mixed up first. So we'll take a little bit of this holographic silver by Let's Resin, and we'll put some of that in here. I don't want to put too much. Again, we can't take it out once it's in there. And then as it's been a while since I've shown you, but when I have mica powders in, I just very carefully spread it around on the top of it because I don't want clumps. I know you can't avoid them sometimes, but I'm very cautious of it because I don't want it causing me to get air pockets or bubbles. So yeah, I very carefully smooth it around before I start mixing in. I don't just mix it in, because I have found that that's when you can have pieces that don't don't get broken out, if you will, or don't completely mix in. So I'm very, very careful about that. I don't know how much I really want of the silver in there. I've got some in the piece itself. When I was doing the veil around it, I put some of the silver there. I got my eyes done. I got my lips done. Now the lips may not come out exactly the way I want them to. It's going to be interesting to see how they look, but I did do my best putting the red on the lips. I think we're going to put a little bit more in there. So I'm excited to see how this piece is going to turn out, because I think it's a very cool piece. Okay, that's all we'll put in of that. And I didn't put a lot of the gray tide in it. That's the paste that I've got. So we'll see. I'm hoping it comes out looking eerie, or eerie-ish, I guess. But we'll have to see. It's interesting how I do this, that I just, like I say, I don't want clumps of the mica powder in here. And I think some people actually take a little bit of the resin and mix it into a separate container so that they can mix it all in. And I never really think about doing that when I'm, I get it in here and then go, oh yeah, I remember that. It's like my mold release. I don't think about it, probably because it's not in this room. But anywho, yeah, that's got a nice bit of a glitz to it without being too much glitter in that. Just enough that if it's sitting in the sun, it'll catch it. I was careful when I was doing the black on the inside too. I didn't do it like it's not hard on, so I'm hoping we get to see some of the gray through it. And there is a little bit of black on the face. I wasn't intending to do that, but I actually think it might help with the overall look of the piece. It's going to be, we're not going to know how it's going to look until we get it all done. So we'll have to just see. I think we're looking pretty good. I had thought about, it was interesting because I thought about taking some black alcohol ink and using that, and I thought, I don't know if I want streaks of black on the face. I'm thinking I'm more wanting to have the mica powder that's on the mold right now to be, the black streaks versus putting alcohol ink in it. I figure let's just do this the safe way first before we start getting too crazy with it. And you definitely don't have to make this into a Halloween. We could easily make this more springy, summery, and I'll bring my piece back once we get this poured, but I think you could make it look a little less eerie. I just figured for the time of year, Halloween's coming up, we might as well have some fun with it. All right, let's just set that sit. I think for the most part, we're good. So all those little freaky pieces you see, and you just want to get it. And maybe not everyone thinks the way I do when it comes to that. So we'll stir that again in a moment. So I'll put that there. This is a mold I recently got at Dollarama. I think this is really cool. I actually made a couple of pieces of this out of the ceramic resin when I did the other piece. So let me show you what I sort of fell upon, and maybe some of you are used to it. Yeah. So give me a moment. What do I want to use for my color? Let's use, so I'm going to use the light blue as an example. And let me get my brush out. So let's just take this and just get it right off to the side so we can do this maybe easier. So I haven't, this is just kind of interesting. I was putting some of, not this color, it was the black I was putting onto it. So I got a little bit on my brush, and I noticed, and I'm sure you've seen this too, where it's sort of drawn to, like, well, maybe not so much this, but the mica powder gets drawn to the silicone that's over there that we're doing our mold in. And it sort of dragged it, like it drew itself, like a magnet would to a piece of metal. So what I decided to do, I don't think this is going to do it, but I decided to just tap this. And I've got too much of the blue on there. Like I said, it worked better with the black. So I could just tap it in place. I have got way too much on there. Holy crow. Let me get rid of some of that. Anyways, I was just tapping it. And we're in camera there. Just sort of tapping it. And then it pulled itself to the sides. And then I was able to sort of blend it in, giving it a more interesting look because it was drawing the mica powder in. So I'm going to get the black just to see if I can do it better with the black, because this blue really isn't doing it for me. So let's just get this off of here. Oops, it would have been better if you could have seen what I was actually doing when I was doing the mold, but let's see if this black will do it better. And this may not be, as much as this is silicone, it may be the type of silicone that that clear one is, that's going to make the difference. And I don't have another one here. Well, I have that, but I don't really want to do that. It's sort of drawing it. But anyways, I thought by tapping it, you can just kind of get the mica powder going wherever if you're not really too concerned about where it's going to land. And then, yes, I did move it around a little bit to blend it in, and I'll do that here. But it was just the way it had pulled it to the mold that I thought was kind of interesting. So maybe in another video I'll show you what I mean, or maybe you're getting sort of the gist of it. But if we have some resin left over, we'll put it into this one. Yeah, it was like a magnet. The mica powder was like a magnet going to the mold, and I hadn't thought about just tapping and letting it just sort of go where it wanted to go. So I thought I would share that with you. So let's take this off. Okay, so I don't know if you're going to be able to see. Okay, yeah, you can see the face. Cool. So that's what we have for the face. So the lips, hopefully they're good enough. And then I did the dark blue in the eyeball, and then I actually did the light blue all the way around. And you'll maybe be able to see right here some of the veins. So when I was headed open, the black sort of went into the crevices nicely. And then I've got some black on the face. And then here, I just, like, not a lot. I didn't blend this in really harshly. I wanted to keep it sort of semi-transparent, if you will, because I want the gray to show up. So yeah, I don't know how well you can see that. And then for the bow at the front, it's basically a combination of the black and the silver, although I think the silver's sort of taken over. The inside has got black just random on it, and then I put silver on the bottom because I thought it'd be nice to have a solid color on the bottom. So that's all I've done. And I tried to be really careful when I was closing it back up, and I don't know how well that worked for me, but yeah. I've seen Wendy from Toonpish. I'm hoping I'm saying that right, and I'm not sure I am. Anyways, I've seen her do it, and she seems to have no problem getting the molds to close up. Now, I know she's using her gloves to smear the mica powders around, and maybe that makes a difference. I'm not sure. It's Toonpish, right? Or Toopish. I can't remember, so I apologize for not getting that right, for saying it wrong. All right, let's get some of this poured and see where we land when we take this thing out of the mold. All right, put that over there. I'll pour this way, and we'll see. Now, I made approximately 160 mils. When I measured this with water, it took 149. And it looks like a big mold, so I thought, oh, I hope I got this right. So hopefully. So I don't know if you can see the sort of sparkle in there of the silver, the chrome. So hopefully it's enough just that when the sun catches it, we'll have something sparkly as well. Yeah, so hopefully, my lips, I think, are the thing I'm more concerned about. And I didn't do anything with the nose because I thought, well, I don't know what to do with the nose. The eyes and the mouth were pretty easy. I could have done black lips if I'd wanted to. But, yeah, so I think what I'll do is I'll stop right there. That off to the side. And then we'll just sort of move it around. Now I know I think when I did this with the ceramic, with the nose, I actually pressed it to get any air bubbles out. And I'll do that with the resin as well. Yeah, I'm just trying to get this to move around a bit so we don't end up with any air bubbles. I think we're going to be okay. It's the nose I want to make sure about. And maybe up around where the bow is, but I didn't really have any issues with the bow. And again, I'm taking my time pouring this. And I don't pour high. I've seen some people do that too, and I'm not sure I feel that you would avoid air bubbles that way, because I would think the higher up you get, when it hits down at the bottom here, that there'd be more opportunity for you to end up with air bubbles, but I don't know. And that vibrating you're hearing in the background, that is my phone. My puppy dog's having an issue with one of her back legs, and I had the vet here to look at her, and I think she's going to have to go on some medication, and hopefully that will fix the problem if it is what the vet thinks it is. Because, yeah, they talk about surgery, and yeah, I just don't want to have to go down that road. So I'm going to get this into her nose, its nose, and let it come back out. And then when we get higher up, I'll squeeze it just to see. And it's a pretty, like, as much as there are folds in this, it's not like they're sort of intricate that I worry too much about getting air bubbles in them. But again, I just want to move it around. I have time, right? We're dealing with the epoxy resin, so I don't have to, think about, ooh, it's going to cure in 2 seconds. Yeah, I'm excited to see how this turns out. Fingers crossed that it does, and it looks the way I want it to look at the end of the day. Okay, I guess we can pour it a little faster than that. Now, if by some freak I don't have enough of this resin, I will just make up some more, and you won't have to be witness to that. I'm not sure I'm going to have enough, because I'm running low and this still has a ways to go. So I'm really going to have to get better at figuring out the amount of resin. So I'm just squeezing the nose. All right, so I think we'll be okay from that perspective. Again, if I get some cracks there, I'm going to put it sort of down to it might be part of the mold itself. So we'll just get the rest. I'm not going to have enough of this. So I'm going to have to make up some more resin. How much? I am not at all sure. And then what I'm going to have to do is remeasure this. I've been using my scale to weigh and then adding water, but I definitely don't have enough in here. Now it's kind of interesting because the number I wrote down, I thought to myself, well, I think I had more in this, so I think what I'm going to have to do is I'll do the difference between what I made. My number's down wrong, because that's always possible that I've written numbers down wrong. So I'm going to have to make up some more of this. I'll do that off camera, and I will bring you back when we get to the point of taking this out of the mold. Yeah, and I'll sit here and give some thought to how much more I need in this. Anyway, we will come back when it's time to take it out of the mold. I'll see you then. All right, we are ready to take our piece out of the mold. You'll notice that I took out the... No, I did. I poured these. I'm pretty sure I poured these when you were... Or maybe I didn't. No, you know when I poured these? I poured these after I had made the extra resin because I had leftover resin. So I made 2 of the potion bottle pieces. The red one I like a little bit better, but however, having said that, this piece with the moon in it, I can do some decorating around that because of the coloring, and I will work on doing that. And I can highlight, I'm going to see maybe highlighting this piece here where the eye is, just to see what I can do, maybe to bring it to more life. But I only did a little bit of the mica, as you can see, and again, because it's something for Halloween, I'm not bothered by that at all. And I'll bring this one up, and maybe I'll post pictures of this on my Facebook page once I get these figured out. All right, what else did we do? So, as you can tell, I had too much resin again. I probably could have gotten away. I made 100 mil. I probably could have gotten away with 50. And after I had stopped the video to make up my extra resin and pour it, I got thinking about what I had written in my book. I'm working on getting much better. I believe I miswrote down the amount of water that went into this piece initially and put it down as the amount of ceramic resin I needed. And that's why I didn't do as much of this. But I got thinking, I believe that I had done over 300 mils of the ceramic resin, and I needed 230 mils of resin. I'm going to be measuring this out again, and I will put in my description how many mils of water, and I think it's going to be close to 230. So my mistake completely on that. I made a couple of earrings, and then I thought, what are you doing, Natalie? You have this mold over here. Throw the rest in here. So that's what I've done. We're getting to the point of almost being able to take this one out. It's going to be very much a hodgepodge of coloring. Now, I have to tell you something. When I made my additional resin up, I knew the color was off a little bit. So yeah, just a pair of earrings here. That's what I made too. And then went, what are you doing? Okay, little secret about this piece. I made up my extra resin. The color was a little bit off. I took one of my popsicle sticks here, and totally innocently, I started pushing down around the sides. And then I got to the front, and when I pulled my resin or my popsicle stick out, there was some thickened resin on it, and I went, oh, Natalie, what have you done? What have you done? What have you done? So I am hoping, like I got my resin in, I tapped the face, I tapped around this thing, so I am hoping that I have not messed this up, that I didn't, you know, make a bad call doing that and messed up my face. So let's get this out of here. I'm noticing I've got some blue color down. So that's something we have to be careful of. when we're putting these colors on is, you know, are they getting on other parts of the mold? And as a result, like, they're going to be other places you don't want them. And yeah, I'm gonna have to work on that. Okay, now this is a bit of a challenge rolling this down. I had this problem before, so I'm just going to bring it over to my body. So if it gets loud, that's why. And my, there we go. Now my when you're wearing gloves that are too big for you, that happens. Okay, I'm not even going to look at this. We're going to look at this together and see what happened. All right, so just put the face off like that. I've got a little bit of cleaning up of mica powder on this. And I'll get a little bit of that cleaned up when I go measure out again. So let's see how it looks. So we'll look at the inside first. So that's what the inside looks like. So it's got that sort of messy Halloween look. And I hope you're able, are you seeing that? Oh, I can't tell if you're seeing that. To be totally honest, I can't tell. So hopefully you are. It's a bit of a messy look inside, which I'm totally cool with. So let's just bring the face around. There's my face. So actually, oh yeah, see? Too funny. So right down here, I'll bring it up to the camera. Can you see the blue on her chin? That's too funny. That's my issue when it comes to doing these things, is the mica powder getting in places it doesn't or shouldn't be. But having said that, and her lipstick, I love this, is actually, and again, I don't know how well you're going to see this, and I don't mind this. I don't mind. I'm a little put off by the blue, but it sort of looks like we've got a streak of, you know, you could even look at it as blood coming down here. I don't know, if I put it in the light, hopefully you can see it. So it's right here. And that I don't mind. I'm okay. So my lips, although not the greatest job in the world, not bad. So I think she turned out pretty cool, all in all. I need to do some work getting the edges down. And if I take, so let's see. Okay, so that was the difference. On my ceramic resin piece around here, you get different, I had some jagged edges. So obviously it wasn't meant to have so the cracks in spots where it is on the ceramic resin, because I don't have them on this piece. Like they're not, I'm not seeing them on this piece. So that means that they're not part of the mold, which is totally cool. Like, I don't mind it on my ceramic resin piece. I think it looks kind of cool. And then, as I said, I wasn't, like, I just sporadic with the black and some of the silver on the scarf. So I think what's going to look really cool is if I can get, and I might have to use a non-metallic marker in black to fill in these cracks, because I think it would look really neat if I did that. Like, you can see them. I'd like them to stand out a little bit more. I do like how her eyes turned out. I'm really happy with the eyes. If we hadn't gotten blue down here, I would be even happier. And yeah, I mean, I could sand that down a little bit, but I think I'm going to end up ruining it. So I don't really know how I can maybe fix that. So I'm wondering if what might have happened, and I can't say for sure, is if I had some of the blue on my gloves when I flip this around, because I don't have the light blue, and yeah, the red ran, but I don't care about that. And what I could do with her eyes as well is just put a dot, either dot it right in the center of the blue, or very carefully go around and put some black on that. But you know, all in all, I think this turned out really well. So, and at the very bottom, there you go, the silver that I put, like the holographic silver. But yeah, I think all in all, I think she turned out pretty sweet. And next time with the lips, I like it. I don't think it looks too bad at all. Anyways, that's our video. That's what we got done. So I've got 2 of them now. And I know where to expect cracks to be and where not to expect cracks. So I might make another ceramic resin one just to see if I can maybe get one that doesn't have the cracks around the sides of her head like I currently do. Anyway, please let me know in the comments below what you think of this piece. I will measure out how much... Well, I'll measure out the water, which will tell me how much of resin I should have had in this. But I can see myself making others, and it's just a matter of learning how to flip these back around so that I don't get, you know, my eye color getting in spots I don't want it in. And I don't have an answer for that right now. And I don't know whether if I'd done it from the, like worked at flipping it from the back instead of the front, maybe that might have made a difference. Anyway, so let me know what you think between the ceramic resin one I showed you and this one. I appreciate you taking the time to watch my video. Have no idea what the next one's going to be about, but I hope you come along for that one. Whatever you're doing, stay creative because that's what it's all about. Take care and bye for now.